Okay, we're back after a while. It's been a few days. I apologize. I've been really sick. So if I start to have a coughing fit here, please forgive me. This is the third time I've tried to do this video, and at this point, I'm feeling quite tired, I have to admit. Um, I'll try and do my best. I'll keep it quick. So essentially, this particular layout is what we have on the Falcon. So we all know this. What I've done is I've taken and I've cut off this piece here. You can see I've cut out a lot of this. Basically brought it down to the bare bones. And the reason why I've done that is because this piece has, and you can't see them in here, but these are the mounting points for the magnets. And if I release this one here, you can see how the magnets are in this one. And what that does is it's going to hold it to the frame. And I figured that's the best way to hold this next, any of these modifications, is keep it as close to the model as possible, but make all the changes you want visually. So the mechanics of it, we're going to try and keep as close to the original model as possible. The other thing is, this plate, it looks like, because originally this was here, because I'm going to have to cut out this and this part of the framework to allow for this cockpit tube to come up through that section there. And of course what I'll do is I'll cut out this this part of the plastic here to accept the cockpit, and then I'll use the leftover plastic to mount the tube in place. So that'll be its mounting points. So as you can pretty much see, this locks down into place quite nicely, just like the original. Okay, the difference is now that whereas this tube was over here originally, of course making a right angle, what I've done is I've cut it off, cut the tube off, and I've slightly angled it, because when it comes over to here and is mounted on here, it's coming up slightly. And so to make it, once it got to this part of the portion of the tube, leveled it out. Just trying to keep, as realistic as possible, if you could consider this all realistic in any way. But within canon, as much as possible. I'm not sure how much the Saracen Saber is canon in itself, but if you go to the Haynes manual on the different layouts for the YT 1300, this is one of the standard versions, is with the cockpit coming up through between the mandibles. Okay, so what we have here is, you can now see how I've got that mounted, and in some of the other videos I had something similar to show. The difference is the way I've actually got it all together at this point, because I've actually started with the cutting and fitting of the lower cockpit tube, which is a lot more difficult than I had anticipated, because eventually what you have to do is you figure, okay, you have to cut this in, but you don't want it to be seen from the outside. And as you can see, I've gone past it in certain points, which means I'm probably either going to have to backfill that, or what I'm going to have to do is cut a new tube at the correct length and depth. But so the mere fact that I've got this piece, I've got another one that I can cut to utilize it, no problems. But the other thing is I have to fill in. So I have to fill in all these gaps in such a way as to make it look like it had always been there. That's the beauty of this kit anyway, is that you can do things like that. And as you can see here, what I'll do in one of my next things is I'll mount this in here like this, so you can kind of get an idea. And the idea was also that where this comes, this ridge here, because I didn't really want to cut this if at all possible. It would have weakened the frame way too much. But the idea is that this cockpit sits just above this floor, sits just above this point here. So in here, when you put the cockpit together, all right, the idea is that it'll, right there, will be sitting right under this. And then what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to take and cut off the back here of this cockpit tube for the doorway. Do the same for the other one. Mount two of these back to back like this. Put a secondary wall in. So now what I have is an open, being able to look straight down the cockpit tube. And so everything that's lit up in the inside will be able to come out through the outside and be seen. So you have the straight run looking down into the main ring and the cargo holds, and that's kind of how this is all progressing. The other thing that I've done is I've gone to a fair amount of trouble to make sure that the length of the cockpit tube is in accordance with what's in Canon. And what I mean by that is, let me stick this ring on. Okay, so when you take and you put the main cockpit housing in place, and we sit down and we try to lock everything back together, okay, that's kind of how it's supposed to be. There's a little bit of fitting to do to get it all to work out, but you kind of get an idea. And right now, the main part of this front of this cockpit is right in line with this secondary hole here, which is what they show in all of the maps and in the Haynes guide and in the pictures and stuff. So I've got the length of it right, and you can see that even though this is what was on the Falcon, it and normally you have this tube coming directly into the main hull. It's slightly different, obviously, for the reasons I've put forth, but I think this actually comes out looking really quite nice. Now I've also been able to keep the hatchway here, and I have a spare hatch around here somewhere. Oh, here. Okay, and it's all magnetic, and so I've been able to keep that feature. I'm going to eliminate all of the blaster marks and stuff, because again, this is the Saracen Saber, not the Falcon, and so I don't need those. It'll probably have others. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet, but this is where I've gotten to so far. And again, trying to make the interior match what is on some of the game. I think there's one of the game layouts that shows the interior for the Saracen Saber. And again, this will come off of here, and it'll be cut out and have the rocket engines, sublight drive rocket engines. Again, I'm taking this little chunks at a time. I've been ill, and so I haven't been able to do much. But I've thought about it an awful lot, and in the thinking, I think this is going to work out quite nicely. As you can see, it comes up slightly at an angle, and then it levels out, so the tube is all in line with the rest of the hull. Sorry, the cockpit is in line with the rest of the hull. So again, we'll have the walkway and the companionway here. I'm probably going to end up obviously lengthening it, but I'm also going to have it come at a slight of an angle. And although I know that's not in any of the books, because they talk about everything, showing everything on one level, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to the configuration externally. It doesn't make sense to a lot of it. But then we all know that it's been a 40-year battle trying to make interiors fit the Falcon properly. Anyway, I will come back when I've got more, and I'll show you more. And so for now, ciao. Take care, and you have a great day.